point where it has rained for a few hours and we're seeing Accra under the water. All right, so the areas that have been affected, if you actually happen to be in an area where you've been affected, just send us messages on the numbers that will be displayed on the screen. We'll be talking about the floods, and get in touch with members who are stakeholders in the disaster tackling issue in terms of flooding. Definitely we will speak with the task force that's been put together by His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama. We'll see how far they've gone with the setup of the committee, what we need to do, or what the committee is already doing. We'll get the details of it and a brief of what is underway and what the people must know. So we'll get to speak with the task force. And then Dredge Masters will also be in the studio with us. You want to be with us as they also talk about the work that they have for the country. But for now, my colleague, Dominic, is standing by for the briefs of the news updates. Dominic, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon. Honey, you always look beautiful as always.
Thank you. You look sharp as well.
Well, thank you. News update. Headlines is up next. And our municipal chief executive for the Adentan Municipal Assembly confirms 3 people died following torrential rains that triggered severe flooding across parts of Accra on Sunday, May 18, 2025. We'll bring you more. Claims that he is employing fear tactics in addressing Ghana's current energy challenges. Instead, he says he's committed to implementing strategic solutions to stabilize the nation's power and fuel supply. And our vehicle owners and transport operators likely to see a reduction in prices of spare parts in coming days as Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association instruct members to slash prices. This and many other more coming your way in 30 minutes. Do stay. We'll be right back with more. And I will take the news in details. The municipal chief executive for the Adentan Municipal Assembly, Ella Esinam Nongo, has confirmed that 3 people died following torrential rains that triggered severe flooding across parts of Accra on Sunday, May 18, 2025. The flooding was the result of nearly 3 hours of continuous rainfall starting around 3 p.m., which submerged major roads and cut off access to several communities. Other affected areas across the capital, including Weja, Kaneshi, Adabraka, Adentan, Dodowa, Tema, and several adjoining towns. The downpour caused key stormwater channels, including the Odo drain, to overflow, compounding the damage in standing vehicles and residents alike. Take a look at this.
Cars were washed away by the flooding at Christian Village. Yeah, that's sober down between Pillar 2 and Christian Village. And this is the pickup as well. There's the pickup as well. The guys, the volunteers here have managed their way out. Yes, sir. So I know you. Who are
The rains are here. How prepared are we as a country? We heard what happened in Adentan. The municipal chief executive, has stated about 3 people have already died. I mean, that's very sad. We believe that we can do more for a country like this. Day in and out, we speak about floods, but how prepared are we? How do we go about, working towards that we don't really encounter and engulf ourselves with some of these things? But moving on to do some other stories, Burkina Faso has unveiled a monumental statue and its former president, Captain Thomas Sankara, in the capital, Ouagadougou. The unveiling ceremony drew dignitaries and Pan-African enthusiasts from across the country, highlighting Sankara's enduring legacy as a beacon of revolutionary leadership and selfless public service. Ghana was represented by high-level delegation comprising Edward Omanebwama, Minister for Defense; Mutaka Mubarak, Minister for the Interior and National Security; Felix Kwache Ofosu, Minister for Government Communication; Lieutenant Colonel Bevlo Latte, Ghana's Special Envoy to the Alliance of Sahel States; Dr. Zinato Ajiman Rawlins, Chairperson of Parliament Security and Intelligence Committee; Naval Captain Bafo Jima, former National Security Coordinator; and Kofi Totobi Kwache, former Minister for the National Security, designed by world-renowned architect Francis Kere. The bronze statue stands atop a sprawling 14-hectare site that includes a mausoleum for Thomas Sankara and the 12 slain companions, an 87-meter symbolic tower, an amphitheater, and expensive green public spaces. The Captain Thomas Sankara Memorial is poised to become a pilgrimage site for Pan-Africanists across the continent and around the world. Well, we apologize for that. We'll bring it to you subsequent bulletin on Good Afternoon Ghana. Now, moving on to do some other stories. The Executive Director of Revenue Mobilization, Geoffrey Okansi, shared a different perspective on the city appreciation, saying this wasn't just about smart policies, but about correcting past wrongs in the system. In an interview, Geoffrey Okansi, he says the cities will fall partly to the black market.
I don't agree because there were certain practices in the system that got us to where we were. One of course, could be the issue of limited and reduced demand for the dollar. I mean, there was high demand for the dollar in the past, okay? So people were just manipulating, the black market were manipulating their prices. It was just automatic, price inflation on the part of the dollar sale. And these were actually, caused by the black markets, effects that I told you. There were also dollar traders, those who were hoarding the dollar and at their own time bringing out the dollar to make profits on the seal of the dollar. These persons with the panic knob, because there is a good reserve by government. Government announced about $2.7 billion that they actually got from the gold sale. Now with the gold board, you cannot even sell gold on your own. You cannot trade on your own. You have to go and sell it to gold board. That would further increase our reserve, and then we're going to have Forex sitting down after selling those gold that we are going to be buying from the gold sellers in the country. So it will back up our reserves here. Illicit financial flows are going to go down. People were smuggling the gold outside the country. Just about 3 days ago, there was a busting of some Indians who were actually trading in gold and money. So all these busts and the quick eye of the government on those who are actually smuggling dollars. In the past, people were actually smuggling dollars out of Ghana.
And our former Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has criticized contemporary global policymakers for failing to heed the fundamental lessons of history and economics, particularly in the handling of trade imbalances. He made this remark while responding to a question on the weaponization of trade and its impact on African economies, especially Ghana, and what strategies can enhance the continent's economic resilience at the International Democracy Union Forum in Brussels on Saturday, May 17th.
I think that one of the things that policymakers are doing recently is a failure to understand the lessons of history as well as the lessons of economics. There are surely trade imbalances. If you look at the share of global trade in terms of exports and imports, Africa has about 2.5% of global exports, has 2.9% of global imports. Asia has 43% of global exports and 38% of global imports. China, 15% of exports, 10% of imports. Europe, you have 38% of exports and 51% of imports. America, 8% of exports and 14% of imports. So there are clearly trade imbalances across the various continents and countries. But what we know from economics is that you cannot fix a trade deficit with tariffs. It just doesn't work. I mean, if you look at the national income identity, where you say that your income is equal to your consumption, investment, government spending plus exports minus imports, that breaks down into a simple equation, which is a truism, that your deficit, the exports minus your imports, would necessarily have to equal the difference between your savings and investment. So for any country which spends more than it saves, you're going to get a trade deficit. The deficit is a macroeconomic problem. It's not a trade policy issue. And you cannot solve that macroeconomic problem with trade policy like tariffs. So you go back, to the Smoot-Hawley Acts of the 1930s, where they put 20% tariffs. You had a Great Depression.
And now Ghana will host 500 marketing and information technology professionals for the 2025 African Marketing Confederacy and Technology Information Confederation Africa Conference. The AMC and TCON Africa meeting, scheduled from 20th to 22nd August, promises to be a pivotal event focused on enabling Africans take on future.
The AMC and Take on Africa meeting, scheduled from the 20th to 22nd August, promises to be a pivotal event focused on enabling Africa take on future innovation standards and global influence. Launching an event in Accra, President of Take on Africa, David Gowu, said the landmark conference the continent by connecting with professionals and decision makers in technology and marketing from various African nations.
It's an opportunity for your brand to go Pan-African. It's an opportunity for you to connect with professionals across the African continent and also to sell your product and services across borders. So we are inviting businesses to partner AMC and Tycoon Africa to deliver an unforgettable conference here in Ghana. One of the things we do in this conference is also to give our entrepreneurs the platform to showcase their products and services. So it's important as an entrepreneur to be part of this initiative.
Vice President CIMG Ama Amwa emphasized the upcoming AMC Take-On Africa 2025 conference in Accra would position Ghana as a hub for Africa's marketing and tech innovation.
Let us take advantage and make this program a success. Yes, of course, join us on the AMC Take-On 2025 conference, where Africa, biggest marketing minds and tech innovators will converge. We hope to see you, and not just seeing you, but we want to see you partnering with us, because this is our time to make impact.
MICE is a new tourism product, meeting, incentive, conference, and events. Now, destinations that do not have rich, breathtaking experiences, heritage, culture, and landmarks are thriving on MICE. And that's why we see this as an opportunity for us to grow our presence in the sub-region when it comes to MICE experience.
Under the theme, Thriving in Africa's Evolving Markets, Trust, Trends and Technology, the AMC conference will delve into the junction of marketing and ICT in today's fast-paced environment where both disciplines must coexist to ensure that companies are as successful as possible.
And now the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition has dismissed claims that its Minister John Jinapor is engaging in scaremongering over the country's energy challenges, asserting that his recent statements to Parliament were factual and transparent. This followed criticisms by some sector stakeholders that Energy Minister should be measured in the kind of information he communicates to the public to avoid causing panic. Here is Benjamin Isia, Executive Director of Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy.
There's no any cause for alarm, and I think that in some of these meetings, the minister must know when to communicate in camera and when also to mention some of these things on camera. Because stating that we have only 2.6, which is less than 3 days of emergency fuel, will sound in the minds of Ghanaians, and it creates certain psychological concerns in the minds of Ghanaians that we are likely going to be in doom so in the coming days. I think that is not the case, because for now, all the sources of natural gas are flowing in. Now, the minister also mentioned that, yes, emergency fuel with huge amounts being mentioned, and is expecting the end user to should pay for that. I think that that argument does not also stand, because since 2015, the end user, who is also a petroleum user, has always been paying for energy sector debt. We've been paying energy sector debt through energy debt recovery levy. In 2021, we added energy sector recovery levy onto these particular levies, and we have always been paying. So the argument that we don't pay for emergency power, we don't pay for reserve margin, I think the argument doesn't stand. If the minister wants us to stop paying for reserve margin, or wants us to stop paying the ESLA and then fix that in our energy electricity tariff structure, then they should let us know, so that at least the petroleum user stops paying the ESLA and then concentrates on paying or diverting that money to pay for electricity in getting real-time tariffs. And the reason why the Energy Commission and the PURC doesn't factor emergency fuel in, they use it at a time that we're in emergency. For example, this year, if you look at the energy sector or Energy Commission outlook.
And now let's go back to our earlier story where Burkina Faso unveiling a monumental statue of its former president, Captain Thomas Sankara, in the capital of Ouagadougou. The unveiling ceremony drew dignitaries and Pan-African enthusiasts from across the region, highlighting Sankara's enduring legacy as a beacon of revolutionary leadership and selfless public service. Ghana was represented by the high-level delegation comprising Edward Omanebwama, Minister for Defense, Mutaka Mubarak, Minister for the Interior, Interior and National Security Felix Kwame Ofosu, Minister for Government Communications, Lieutenant Colonel Bevlo Latte, Ghana's Special Envoy to the Alliance of Sahel States, Dr. Zinato Ajiman Rawlings, Chairperson of Parliament's Security and Intelligence Committee, Naval Captain Bafo Jema, former National Security Coordinator, and Kofi Totobi Kwache, former Minister for National Security, designed by world-renowned architect Francis Kere. The bronze statue stands atop a sprawling 14-hectare site that includes a mausoleum for Thomas Sankara and his 12 slain companions, an 87-meter symbolic tower, an amphitheater, and expensive green public spaces. The Captain Thomas Sankara Memorial is poised to be a pilgrimage for Pan-Africanists across the continent and around the world.
Because 1 week before the assassination, I was with him and the brother who killed him, Bless.
His own brother killed him?
No, I mean his colleague, a brother. He was just like a brother. I was with them because we had heard in Ghana that there was something going on. But they denied. The two of them, they denied. So me, when I see the statue, the monument, and I said, oh, Africa, for how long are we going to suffer the way we are suffering? If by chance or God brings one person, one leader to change Africa, and then people gang up, fellow Africans gang up under the instrument of the colonialists, and then they get rid of our people. How long can we continue like this? Look at Traore.
Yes.
He has come to continue the work of Sankara. But how long can we have it? Africa? No. It's sad. It's sad. Just for the interest of the white man, just for the interest of somebody who is interested in our gold and our everything, we do not even think beyond that. And we get rid of ourselves. We get rid of our leaders. And then the continent remains as... No, we must know our problems. And we must know the people who really want to solve our problems. And we do not have to get, together with these white people to eliminate our people.
It's important that the personalities who came, you could see that there was quite some participation from across West Africa and Central Africa, and also from Europe and from the Americas and all. So I think it was well, organized, and President Sankara and his people really deserve the kind of honor that they got.
And now in a symbolic ceremony that underscored the bond between Ghana and Burkina Faso, a street in Ouagadougou has been named after Ghana's former president's flight, Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. Speaking after the event, his son, Kimati Rawlings, and Dr. Zinato Rawlings reflected on their father's legacy, the legacy of Thomas Sankara, and the urgent need for African unity.
I think it's something that should have happened at this magnitude a while ago. Thomas Sankara's foundation have done their best to keep his legend alive, and we've always been happy to support. President Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was certainly, my father was certainly a huge supporter of the foundation, and he was a very close friend of Thomas Sankara. So it means a lot to be here. And it means a lot that the whole of Africa was more or less here to support this momentous occasion. United, we will rise, and divided, we will fall. That's the way I look at it. I think now more than ever, we have the opportunity to come together as a continent. Many have come before who have tried to accomplish this, but I feel that the atmosphere is perfect for that kind of unity. We see what is happening in the West, and for once, I think we're in a position to look inward at ourselves and see how we can progress as a continent.
A street that's officially named after the late Flight Lieutenant President Jerry John Rawlings. They're honoring our former president. I think my father, yes, of course, thank you. I think it's something that if as Ghanaians we haven't taken notice of, we should recognize the fact that we should honor our past. We should honor our past leaders, and certainly the fact that they have singled out the late President Jerry John Rawlings is significant for Ghana as a country. And I believe that moving forward, we need to, in terms of our relationship between Ghana and Burkina Faso, need to understand that the nature of our porous borders, the significance of our common history, means that we have to find creative ways in which we can collaborate to help resolve this issue of violent extremism and terrorism in the sub-region, if indeed we want to create a brighter future for generations to come.
Sankara and President Rawlings were contemporaries. So, and they believed in the same kind of direction. They were two charismatic leaders in this part of the world. And then one of them got killed. So, well, President Rawlings carried on. So you can see that once you want to talk about Sankara, you have to look at him from that perspective, that these were two revolutionaries from this part of the world, you know, who were very close to each other, cooperated with each other. One got killed, one carried on and became, you know, a civilian president.
And that's where we draw the curtains for the news update on Good Afternoon Ghana with me, Dominic Nana Kwame Nansapra. Now we're crossing over to Annie for the rest of the show.
So much love in the air. What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us on this unforgettable night.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here. Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
Just taking a trip down memory lane.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DSTV.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Excellency's government has promised a transparent and accountable government. We will give citizens information and will travel along with citizens even as we face challenging problems. So let's go to yesterday's floods, for instance. We've since received some briefing as to what accounted for the floods in some of the areas, yes. And from the briefing that we have gotten, the worst affected areas were the Ofankor Highway, the Shiashi area, Springtex, as you yourself can attest to, and Palace Mall area. And all of those floods around, the flood around these areas was as a result of the depression in the road, as well as the roadside drains that, you know, had not been functioning well because of, again, siltation, as we know. And we saw in some of your videos the crass behavior of some citizens pouring solid waste into drains, especially when it's raining, with the belief that the rainwaters will carry these solid waste to where? You know, that's the question, to where? You know, and so there's a very complex conundrum with this matter that, yes, we must use the instrument of policy, regulation, enforcement, but also attitudinal and behavioral consistent change, you know, campaigns to ensure that citizens adopt the necessary habits that will inform our behavior even, you know, before some of these flood situations. The second area that was mostly affected in Greater Accra region was the lakeside Ashie and the environs. And for here, apparently, it's as a result of some individuals who had encroached the Mamahuma drain and filling the dam at Adentan Fulani area. So here again, we have a major problem with clogged drains, which perennially accounts for parts of the flooding, one of the reasons for the flooding that we have.
They had a lot, quite a lot to say when they were in opposition. I can tell you vividly and clearly that the president, the sitting president, had so much to say. If you go through his Facebook wall, you see that he had a lot to say. He actually even had solutions to the issues. And, you know, when I first heard that they have formed a task force to combat flooding in the capital, I was happy. I was thinking that something good will come out of it. But then, unfortunately, nothing has come out of it. I think the president, in one of his write-ups, clearly told us that the way out is by, he said, I will find engineering solutions to persistent flooding issues. So this is not new to the president. He knows that today, as we are speaking, a lot of people will not have places to sleep.
Empathy?
Yeah. From people that should be concerned about the livelihoods of people, of Ghanaians. I'm saying this because the head, the chairman of the flood, the anti-flood committee that was set by the president, who happens to be his deputy chief of staff, Mr. Stan Dogbe. I think yesterday he and Mr. Omani Boama, who also happens to be a minister for defense, they were on social media, talking about football. When people didn't have places to sleep, people were virtually trying to get to their homes after going out to probably go to church, to go to the marketplaces.
Cars were washed away by the flooding at Christian Village. Yeah, that's sober down between Pillar 2 and Christian Village. And this is the pickup as well. There's the pickup as well. The guys, the volunteers here have managed their way out. Yes, sir. So I know you. Who are
All right, you're welcome to the program. It's Good Afternoon, Ghana. And some of the videos gone by, or what you're seeing on the screen, the sights and scenes from the flood disaster. Yeah, Dominic, you're welcome back. I was just checking with you what your experience is like from the house on the streets, maybe before getting to the office.
Within the Adentan, constituency, and honestly speaking, coming all the way from the house was pretty poor. A traffic jam, and people are stranded outside and all that. And I think a couple of people called me regarding the demise of the 3 people, which the MC reported. It's really sad. Adentan is quite chaotic after the flood, and I don't know how we're going to resolve this, but I believe, and whoever that has taken a step, fight, the situation.
Okay, so from your perspective as a journalist, I'm not sure, do you have any ideas or leads to what you think is happening within the Adentan municipality?
Well, to me, I think on my stretch, we should do away with the squatters on the roadside. Looking at some of these containers, wooden structures that are mounted on the roadside. The newly constructed road this time around has really pushed them far behind. But you could see that people are still situated, along the drains, and that is really causing flooding.
Oh, okay, so we have, structures in the waterways.
Right.
How about drainage? How good is the drainage system within the Adentan areas?
Well, so in my area, it's really poor. Very, very, very poor.
When you say poor, you mean they're small,
yes,
or they're choked or clogged?
So I will say that they are choked because from my stretch to Fulani Junction, that is Ashie, it's really choked. But I think the newly constructed road, which they are working on, should do the needful.
Let me ask, from also what you see in Adentan, I see Bastor boys doing a lot of work on the streets. There are people who think that they can't do capital-intensive work. There are people also who think that the little they're doing is good. I see them sometimes go into the choked gutters and really clear the space, and you see that they do quite some fantastic work with that touch they add. Is this something, if you look at the work you have, and if you've seen the work of Bastard Boy, do you think that they can do certain things like that, such that we put little teams in areas they can help mitigate the challenge?
Well, and I think the Bastard Boys cannot do it all. It's a collective responsibility. So if more hands, step forward to assist, it will really help. I mean, not only at Adentan. When you look at Medina, there are similar issues there. Despite that, people didn't die. I mean, when you look at Kaneshi, all over. So I think it's a collective responsibility. When we have more people jumping in, I believe that this drain agenda, or let's say flooding, will be resolved completely.
Dominic and Sapra, I'm grateful for the brief that you've given me. I'm sure you have some more reports. As and when they are ready, just let's have it so that we can, get to appreciate the extent of the challenge. I'm grateful.
Right, thank you very much.
Right, Dominic and Sapra brought us the briefs for the news updates this afternoon on Good Afternoon Ghana. We're still giving you some updates of the news, but let's speak with Richard Ameko. Richard Ameko is head of Drains Hydrology Authority, head of Drains Hydrology Authority. Now, he's speaking on behalf of the task force, the flood task force set up by His Excellency the President. So he's joined us via phone. Richard, if you can hear me, I hope you do. Good afternoon to you. Hello, Richard.
Behind you. That's behind you.
Hello. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, I think Richard is the one that is engaging with someone else on the background. I'm not sure I have his attention, so producers kindly work that out. Let's see if we can, restore him back on the phone lines. So there are some areas that were affected this morning or from yesterday, inclusive Fanco, Spintix, Shiashi. Do we have Richard now?
Hello?
Yes, Richard. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Richard? Richard, good afternoon. Okay, right, obviously it's a struggle, so kindly work it out for us. And like I said, Richard Ameko is a head of drains for the Hydrology Authority, and he's also a member of the task force, speaking on the updates that the task force probably have for us. We just want to see, they have to bring us up to speed with how far they have gone and what we should be expecting in the near future, than later. I also have another engagement I have to do in the studio, which with Dredge Masters of Bini of Ghana. So I have Tanko Yakubu, who is also Business Development Manager at Dredge Masters Ghana Limited. He's joined me in the studio. Yakubu, you're welcome. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
All right, so let's try Richard again. Is Richard back?
Hello?
Yes, Richard, can you hear me now? Richard, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Richard, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Apologies for the, cut in transmission. So I have already introduced you as, speaking on behalf of the task force that was set up by the president. Just briefly, have you met as a team since your setup, and what has been your briefing so far? What were you able to collect in terms of, as a government, what you came to meet? So the information you've collected, what has been your plan to execute in the near future? If you can just take us through.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, we've met a couple of times. I mean, we've been to places. I don't know whether you preview to them. And the president also joined us the last time to some of the areas we visited. So yes, we've met severally, and then we have seen a lot on the ground. Indiscriminately, the way people have built, I mean, development that are not controlled properly, people building on wetlands. Yes, we've identified all those ones. And the action to be taken now, I'll leave that one for my leader to disclose that. But there are more to do. We have also identified some areas to visit, but we don't want to disclose them now. But what we are trying to tell people is that if you know you are building on waterways, if you know you are building at wetland areas, if you know you are not having permits and you are developing, indiscriminately, you should watch out. The task force will definitely come out. You know, what we are experiencing now, the challenge to the government. It's so much. The indiscipline is too much.
Well, you say that you don't want to disclose the areas. Unfortunately, we are in it, so we're experiencing. We already know the areas. And I already also mentioned some names which Shamima helped us understand in the morning, earlier on Good Morning Ghana, that the team has visited. We have Ofanko, we have Shashi, we have Spintex Road, we have Lakeside, East Legon, and its environs. And that the team is also, well, that's a brief that they've received, that the team is also putting together the strategy, because we've seen that you have recorded the likes of depression of roads, silting problem, percolation problem, and I know that you've also mentioned building in waterways. The team is actually literally new. So we obviously are not demanding heaven from you, but let's know what we're expecting going forward. I know that you have Maria Tabrio in the team, who is a lawyer, because you anticipate that some of the actions you will take will attract legal consequences. So there is so much that you have to do in terms of even demolition of buildings that are in waterways. Obviously, some of them, or I would say most of them, have building permits and things like that. So how are you anticipating the challenge ahead of you? Because it definitely will be drastic.
Yes, you said it all. Once we have a lawyer among us, she knows what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. She knows how to handle these issues. So, as you said, it's going to be hectic, but we have to start from somewhere. We can't continue to be like this as a nation. You know, recently, what has happened? What happened just last night? It's really people living at how do you call it? Actually, Fulani area and the rest. It's all the result of living in wetlands, and people are also the source of it. It's coming from Eburi, and you know how people are developing the hills of Eburi. So those people living down there, they are going to be the victims. They are going to face the difficulties.
The recipients of the food. Yes.
Exactly. So this is where I come to say that we need to control our development. We need to control our development. That is it. This challenges that we are facing.
You've hit the nail right on the head, because in terms of development, I was discussing with someone earlier on that we seem to be seeing too many estates development projects all around us. In every week, every month, you see some new estate coming up, and we brand it so much that it's like it's for the bourgeoisies and all that. Now, most of these places you visit, you see that they have built in waterways. If you come to Lashibi, most of the buildings there are in waterways, because Lashibi is a waterlogged area. Thank you. We are seeing what's happening in the Sakumono areas, Ramsia sites where people are building. In Accra, down south here, you see that all Ramsia sites are being captured by the so-called bourgeoisies, and they're filling them in, and water obviously finds its way. So this, over the night, estate development that's happening, what have you been able to gather? And that's why you're called a task force. We are expecting some very drastic, it's a daunting task, yes, but we're expecting some very drastic measures that people will be wounded along the line. How is it going to be done, so that we see, because this cycle is almost becoming frustrating, if not already frustrating.
Yeah, you're right, my sister. Do I say that we are too young now? Mm-hmm. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
We are too young now. So, I'm sure things will start to unfold soon. And then people will take cover. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, as we blacks, sometimes we need a strike. I mean, we need to strike the whip. So then it will serve as a deterrent to others. It is very important. I mean, we must start from somewhere and stop somewhere. That's what I believe in.
Right. So in any case, you are just about 2-3 months old. Just last night you saw the rains was just about hours, not a day, not 24 hours, 2-3 hours, and this is what we're seeing. I am not sure what you have done. I know that you have also tasked NADMO, because they are also on your team, right, to provide assistance for victims.
Yes.
What's the capacity you have, and how many people do you think you've been able to reach?
Oh, in terms of NADMO?
Yes.
this statistics, I mean, it will be difficult for me to talk about the stats now.
It's okay if you don't have the statistics, but I know from yesterday you have worked with them and sent them into certain areas. So I just wanted to see the capacity we...
Oh, okay. Okay, this morning I'm on the field with our Minister for Works and Housing.
Right.
We just even got to Ofanko barrier. So maybe we have to continue our conversation later, please. Is that fine with you, please?
Okay, is that to say that you probably will gather some more information and then we get back to you subsequently? That's okay too.
Very well. Very
yes,
well.
Because it is your work. At this moment, you need to provide information. We need to know where we are.
I agree.
So we know, yeah. And as far as NADMO is also on the team, it means that you are a very core team with the ministry as well, and Minister for Natural Resources, right? Or
no,
Works and Housing.
Works and Housing, water resources.
But you also have local government and chieftaincy religious affairs as well, no?
Yes.
All right. So it means that, Richard, we'll have to come back to you. We need information.
Very well, madam.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your time. Anyway, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you so much for at least responding to us. That's Richard there. He's Richard Ameko, head of Drains Hydrology Authority. We just wanted some updates on where we are today because people reportedly are dead. And let me now announce this before I come back to Tanko in the studio. ECG also gave us some updates on what it's doing in terms of mitigating the challenge that the flooding has brought to us. On your screen, it's there, so you can read with us. It says ECG to collaborate with NADMO to restore power supply. The Electricity Company of Ghana wishes to inform our cherished customers and the general public that the heavy rainstorm that hit the Accra region on Sunday, 18th of May 2025 has caused flooding and some outages within our network. After the rainfall, NADMO requested the following areas to be isolated to the flooding: Boteman Stadium, affordable housing, Boteman Township. Let's an Instagram for prompt intervention. So this is the announcement for you. Earlier on, the ECG also released a statement. Okay, my producer said I should take the number again, so let me do that. It says 0302 611 611. 0302 611 611. That's for ECG. I think in the middle of the conversation, I'll give you that of NADMO as well, quite a number of them, so that you can make use of it, just in case you find yourself in a situation. And I know that in Ghana, our response time is quite slow, but I try. Let's see how effective it has improved, if it has improved at all. Outages due to heavy rainstorm. ECG also released this earlier before the one we read to you. It says the Electricity Company of Ghana wishes to inform our cherished customers, the general public, that the heavy rainstorm has hit parts of the country today. Sunday, 18th of May 2025, has caused some outages within our network. ECG wishes to inform our customers our engineers are working assiduously to repair the faults and restore power supply. The inconvenience is deeply regretted. So So that's about it. I think that's just updates that it was giving to you. So the second release that we gave you was also being specific on areas that ECG is checking a few technical stuff before it allows for power to be restored in those areas. Okay, I'll come back into the studio now and engage my guest I introduced earlier, Tanko Yakubu, who's a business development manager, Dredge Masters Ghana Limited, and he's with us in the studio. All right, later on, we'll also engage with Moses, who is part of us in the newsroom, to give us some. Moses Desire will also give us reports, updates of reports of what's happening on the street. Tanko, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Annie.
Dredge Masters, where are you in all this mix?
Yeah, thank you. Dredge Masters Limited, we are doing our best, and I can assure you.
Maybe for the purposes of viewers, tell us a bit about Dredge Masters.
Sure. Dredge Masters is a wholly owned Ghanaian company, and we are into capital dredging, and other marine works.
What's capital dredging?
Capital dredging is when you dredge the port areas for infrastructure development on the sea, large dredging.
Space.
And you mentioned Ramsar site and lagoons and all of that. What is happening with the flooding now is also, the solution is dredging, which we also do. I was going to tell you about my experience when I followed the regional minister and the RECSEC around to Ablekuma North and South, where people have encroached the Ramsar site and what happened. And if you allow me, before maybe we go into the mainstream, why we are here, I think that the flooding situation we experience in Ghana has to do with the citizenry attitude, to do with sanitation and all of that. The solution or the solutions are two. I think enforcement and also engineering planning. These two things. Enforcement has to do with the state, police, Accra Metropolitan Authority or whatever, and then also the state agency, and that is where Dredge Masters come in. When I followed the regional minister and his team, NADMO and all the security people to Ablekuma North and South, you will see how people have encroached the Ramsar site. I don't know if they don't understand what Ramsar site means. They have built all the way, and you see a narrow channel where the water or the river is supposed to go. If you go to Glefe or the Lafa, it's silted to the hilt, Annie. And I went there the next time it rained. I went there, and I saw how the water was gushing and going to wrong places. Water will find its way. Yeah. But if you encroach the Ramsar site and silt the river bodies, what do you think will happen? Water will come to where it's supposed not to go. The same you will find in the Sakumono area as well. Fortunately, we have just finished some proposal to send to the TDC and the Forestry Commission to restore the Sakumo Ramsar site. And we are going to do a good job, and you will see. You can send your team to take a look. We've just finished with our preliminary, costings and all of that. We are going to start.
What are you doing at the Sakumono Ramsar site?
We are going to restore the entire Ramsar site, dredge the lagoon, and dredge the canals, and do concrete layout and all of that, so that the...
How do you mean concrete layout? Because we are saying that the Ramsar site is a water collecting area.
Yeah.
So what is the concrete doing there?
You can call the Ramsar site as a reservoir.
Yes, exactly.
But the other canals that lead from the motorway, from Lashibi area, from other places that feed into it, those places must be dredged properly and concretized so that the water can flow, make for flow of water from the various drainages into the Ramsar site.
But the Ramsar site itself is being encroached.
Yes, so we are going to restore
That's our disturbance, because if you clear the channels or the passageway of the waters and you maybe concrete it, you're saying, and then allow for water passage, it's passing to where?
Yeah, so all the encroachment is going to be reclaimed. We are going to dredge all the... Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to do all of that.
This is having legal backing?
Yes, of course. I mean, if you encroach illegally...
You don't have a...
Exactly. And I hope that the Ablekuma North and South area, Sakaman, Malam, and its environs should also, we should also do the same thing we are doing in Sakumo over there, so that, this place is even more serious, because the water flowing from the entire enclave goes down there and struggles to get its original channel into the sea. That's what brings about the flooding in those areas. So, Annie, I think that this government is doing well so far.
3 months, he hasn't...
3 months in office, and they are... No, I follow the regional minister, and she's very serious about resolving this issue.
We probably have to engage a regional minister very soon, because the regional minister seems to be on the ground.
Yeah,
I like the fact that she's a woman, but she's not doing armchair minister.
She was there, and I was like there for like 5 hours with the team, and she was there. Sometimes she goes sit in the car and comes out, give instruction, and she was there in the midst of all the action.
But we hope that all this is not going to be a 9-day wonder. That, you've come in fresh, everybody's watching, waiting for you to fail. So,
No, I hope we all give them the support, the media people, civil society, everybody. Because, you see, my experience over there taught me, first I was with the MP at the area, the one who took out Esla, I've forgotten his name. I was with him and his team.
What's his name? Reverend?
Yes, Reverend. I was with him and his team. And we were all emotional, how they were breaking houses and all of that. But when you ask them, how did you come by this place? They say, oh, Obina or Diamame. And where is your document? They don't even have building permits. And so that's how serious it is. And I hope that the regional minister and this government would make us dredge masters do the same.
I don't have videos of that, but the structures, the minister, when you were with the team, the structures they pulled down, how will you value them? Were these looking like just structures, illegal structures, or fully built houses?
Fully built houses. Some of the media people, if I have some videos I can share with your team. Look, story buildings.
Oh.
Yeah. I saw about 3 or 4 that's my heart. Very completed houses. And we met some 2 young men who were very fortunate. One side of their wall had to go. After we have talked and said, okay, you know what? And I particularly was telling the minister that this situation can be solved by engineering and planning, where we come dredge the entire place and put pipes to make sure the water find its way, even if we have to put pipes underneath the ground and make so that we don't evacuate everybody. So my
thinking was that I'm not really an engineer, but my thinking was that if we're clearing the space for water passage, we can also have a second plan that aside the clearing, which should happen, we should also engineer different technologies of fixing pipes for waterways. You understand?
And it's done elsewhere.
Okay.
Why in Europe and America they have basements and all of that, so pipes run underneath.
Yes.
We can also, it's capital intensive. And I hope that this government, His Excellency John Mahama and his team, are able to tap into some resources and do some of these things. These are problems that we can solve.
Apart from this looking like a capital intensive, which means that at the national level, we're expecting the state to, invest in such huge projects to mitigate the situation we're faced with. But what can private people also do in their homes? I've had this discussion with someone who has, expressed disturbance about how we build now. And you see that we put this black plastic on the base of the building, claiming that it prevents water from seeping into the walls, which means there is a possibility of water coming up. If there is a waterlogged area, you have to probably use that technology.
Yeah, but that's also it's a problem.
But that also can be a disadvantage.
Yeah.
If you're stopping the water from coming, you're
the
stopping
water
water
can
from
also
going down.
dissipate into the ground to allow faster. But let me tell you, yes, like I said from the beginning, we the citizens must also be law-abiding and know what to do and what not to do. But the state agencies, the law enforcers, the assemblies, they shouldn't sit down and watch these things to go on. But you see, Annie,
I just wanted to know what private people can do if there's a technology they can deploy, apart from just covering their houses.
I'm just about going there. And this is a climate change resilience and mitigation factor, the point you are raising. If you even build in a high land area and you do concrete all in your house, you have a problem. You will not have a problem, but you create a problem downstream. You understand? So what is advised that we all do, when you build, do the landscape well so that when it rains, the water that drops will go down, and dissipate. So I think that with innovation and engineering, we can do this. But Annie, let me make a little correction. When you started, you said we in Dredge Masters are doing something with ECG. We are not doing anything with ECG. We are actually doing something with, hoping to do something with the VRA. We have been working for the VRA.
When I was introducing you.
Yes.
Then I had the ECG's collaboration with the
Exactly.
national.
Exactly. And at this point, let me say hello to my executive officers in VRA, Engineer Kenzo and his deputy, Mr. Lamte, and the rest of the team, and all of the engineers in Akosombo and Akusi. And I used to work with VLTC, so I know them and the way they work professionally. The issue that we are, last week I was listening to one of the radio stations, and the energy minister was saying that energy generation and consumption is neck to neck.
Is what?
Neck to neck.
Neck to neck, okay.
Yeah, which means that our generation and the
supply
consumption
must meet demand.
Exactly, which is not supposed to be like that.
Supply, I think, must exceed
demand. And the solution is what we in Dredge Masters always want to give. Over the years, and power generation we have come to this stage, and for the past week or 2 weeks, people are talking about,
okay, so for the purpose of clarity, you are touching on the ECG situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see, everybody is fixated on ECG distribution, but the solution is also in the generation.
But ECG doesn't have a problem with generation, do they?
No, ECG's sole mandate is to distribute power.
Yes.
But you can't distribute what you don't have. Yes, there is some non-collection and power wastage in the system. But if your generation is not up to the standard or capacity, let me say, then we have a problem. We think that...
Before you go on, there was a situation where, even when the previous administration came in 2016, there was the criticism of having excess power that's useless and we're paying for, which is a waste of money.
But power cannot be useless.
Exactly. So I'm saying that I don't think that we have a problem with generation. We bring in even IPPs when the need arises. So it means that we have an effective way of generating the power. I think that we just have a problem of collecting money for what has been distributed. So we're not able to make up for the cost of generation.
Yeah.
But we don't have generational problem.
No, we do. You see, what you are saying is right. But that's only to say that one side of the coin is where the problem is. But the problem is that the other side as well. And I'll tell you what. Energy mix is good. The reason we say we want energy mix so that we can reduce the cost of electricity, right? Is electricity cost reducing? No, because we are using fuel. Fuel price is going up, right? Yeah. So what we in Dredge Masters, we want to propose is that let's look at how to generate sustainably.
So other mixes should come in?
Other mixes, fine, but so long, why would we over-depend on fuel generation of power? We can do the hydro well. And this is our value proposition. You see, the dam that has been created for us by our four fathers, the Nkrumah, and I don't think, I have worked for about 16 years in VLTC, and I have seen over the years the sand siltation and the sedimentation that has been created by human activity, the coastal or lakeshore, and the outfalls from the rain from the untarred areas. And when it rains, when you go to Yeji, Makango, Ketekrachi, Dambai, and all of these places and other communities, you see silt or runoff water causing erosion into the lake. Where do you think it goes? It goes to create sandbanks in the Volta Basin and also silts the reservoir of the dam. Over the years, that sandbanks and the siltation of sediment has not been dredged. And that is where dredge masters can come in, dredge those areas and allow efficient flow of water into the dams to turn the turbines. Today, you can ask the VRA engineers what is the capacity of the dam in terms of the generation. If you have siltation to about 1 meter and you don't remove it, it hinders your power generation. It also prevents the lifespan, it also shortens the lifespan of your turbine and maintenance and all of that.
Which eventually will affect the...
Exactly. So if today, for example, power generation by hydro in Akosombo and Nakusi is 60%, and you are able to dredge, say, 1 to 2 meters in the reservoir in Nakusi, Akosombo, and the entire Volta Basin, Yeji, and all the areas I have mentioned, the sandbanks, you can imagine.
I have a question.
Yeah.
But let me just remind viewers that I'm having a discussion with Tanko Yakubu. He's a business development manager, Dredge Masters Ghana Limited. We're talking the flood issues and, of course, power issues. They seem to be clashing every time there's rains. It's clashing with power supply and, affecting things. We already have a challenge within the energy sector, a headache of debt, 80 billion as it stands now, and it's rising. It's rising. So maybe in the next 6 months, we should be recording some 90 billion if we haven't cleared the debt. So we are in trouble. So Tanko is trying to address some of the issues that he thinks that ECG and its VRA or its stakeholders can consider in terms of an effective power supply. He's mentioned that we should have more mixes than just depending on fuel or hydro to supply or to generate power for us. And now he's addressing the issue of VRA. Now, we've had a situation where Akonsombo Dam sometimes overflow. We have just seen disaster because they had too much water, they had to spill. Where was that water coming from?
Yeah, Annie, thank you very much. This is a very important question. But it fuse into what I'm talking about originally. You see, the entire Volta Basin, both upper Volta and lower Volta, it's like a big pond, has a volume it can contain. But, when this dam was constructed, have you seen or heard the flood that happened in Mepe and its environment to that magnitude before? Yeah. And I am telling you, it also has to do with siltation and lack of dredging. You see, before the dam was built, research will tell you that about 70 million sediments are transported from the upper all through into the sea. Once the dam is created, then you can't have the 70 million going. only about 10% of that will traverse, right? Where does the rest go? So it gets silted up the stream.
So this was caused by our failure to desilt. Because
desilt and dredge.
I remember Mr. Kenzo at the time addressed the issue of desilting, which had not happened for some years. And I know that the machines for the desilting had been there. I think he was trying to address it as though the machines were broken down. And I don't know if they were not fixed or... So that's what you are addressing.
Yes, dredging can... You see, dredging is a huge business.
Okay, so hold on. So it means that if we had done the desilting within the periodic desilting that should happen, the water we could have rechanneled the flow of the water through this.
We would have improved the entire dam, the entire basin. I was making a point that consider it as a big swimming pool that can take 5 million liters of water. So if you introduce silt and it occupies half of the space, now it can't take 5 million liters. It will take like maybe 2.5 million liters. So if you are pouring 5 million liters into the same pool, what happens? It will gush out to other areas. That's what
Remind me again, what's causing the silt? Is it activities of people?
Yeah,
coastal outflow of population,
lakeshore wash, erosion, whatever. All the activity, rainfall. Because you see, look at the entire, and water runs to the lower point.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So along the Volta Lake is stretching from Greater Accra all the way to the north.
Yes.
Or should I say all the way from the north to Greater
down
Accra,
to south,
affecting 7 regions or catchment areas. What it means is that all the communities along the river, in Yeji, in Makango, in Buipi, in Yapi, the Upper Volta, Black Volta, Pandu, Agodeke, and Ketekrachi, Dambai, all the areas, when it rains, the things that it washes, sand, soil, whatever, rubbish, all goes into the river body, right? And those are the silt that comes to clot into the Volta Lake and create the slow flow, or if you like, ineffective flow of the river that the dam, the turbines need to turn to generate the electricity. And we are saying, over the years, it has been, the lake has been silted. I think it's about time we have to desilt. And you were telling me rightly, Engineer Kenzo and his deputies, they have lived it. They are seasoned engineers. They know the job. They know. And I'm not surprised that you said here that he came to talk about some of these things. And we are not only talking about the Upper Volta. Annie, the Lower Volta, the last time I checked, for about 15 years now, has not been dredged. If you go to, I was bringing some partners in from Nigeria with barges to come and do some work, and we wanted to use the estuary. Some of the barges, we found out, cannot come through the estuary. Or if we come up the Sogakope, Azizanya area, they will drag the floor. Why? Because there's so much sand. But do you know the opportunities that we are missing there? Those sand we have there, if we dredge them, we don't have to go and be doing illegal dredging, also mining for sand, for building, and all of that. We have natural, good sand that we can use to do. The estate developers and people who want to build can also use it. So I think it's about time the VRA and all the stakeholders look at dredging the entire river, particularly the Upper Volta and the Lower Volta, and then the reservoirs of the dam, to either restore them to original or near original, so that the turbines can fire well and we'll be able to have, and you know, I was saying this earlier before you came with a different point. If you are able to dredge even 1 meter, it can give you 2.5 million mega hour of electricity per year. You can ask the engineers, they will tell you. If you dredge, if what we see now, the reservoir area, the Volta basin is dredged to near original or restored to original, it's able to give us that much electricity per year. And that can close the gap the generation capacity to, if you like, 85, 90%, you know. And so we are looking at the generation side and the solution we can proffer.
It means that with the power of electricity, megawatts that we probably have to use to even power will not take much because it's not forcing to turn turbines.
Exactly. And that is why you are finding flooding in other areas. Because if the entire basin is silted...
So what do you think is a challenge? Is it is it too expensive to dredge?
Oh, well, you can't say it's too expensive to dredge.
Because if it's too expensive to dredge, then try not dredging.
No, but if you want to generate electricity and get, say, $100 million a year, you have to also find at least $50 million to dredge. Because, and it's business. You have to put your money where your mouth is, right? So
I don't want us to look at the amounts averagely you're quoting.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at $50 million to dredge, that's because after the capacity to dredge, our ability to dredge using averagely $50 million, we're able to produce electricity. We're able to power businesses. We're able to turn our turbines, whatever, in the dam. We're able to reduce, challenges, just unnecessary challenges within the economy.
Exactly.
So why cry about $50 million when I know that someone has it in their house?
And Annie, you are a very intelligent woman.
Thank you.
I like the way you think. But you see, it's not only the power solution that dredging will solve. Dredging will solve economic situations.
Yes.
It will solve transportation situation where Volta Lake and all the, we are connecting the railway from Tema to Mpakadan en route to the northern region to go to Burkina and all of that. That transit trade, the regional trade by way of railway, inland water transport is very crucial here. So if you dredge all the sandbanks, you enhance effective and efficient transportation, shipping, safety, navigation, right? And also irrigation, farming, and what have you.
Okay.
Tourism.
Does government have the capacity to dredge?
Of course.
Government
Why
has
not?
So they don't need dredge masters.
Dredge master. we are the premier dredgers in Ghana, and we are even in.
I'm just asking.
We are doing dredging in Liberia. We are doing dredging.
Premier dredge masters in Ghana.
Yes, we are the premier dredging company in Ghana. That's why we call ourselves dredge masters. Nobody dredges like dredge masters.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You talked about the flooding that's happening after the rains yesterday. You saw that the Odo and Koli, there was no flooding there?
There was no flooding?
Yeah. Did we have flooding?
How do you mean there was no flooding?
We did some work, good work. And because...
okay, so funny enough, I haven't really seen the circle basin area,
Yeah. The magnitude of rain yesterday, if we didn't do a good job on that stretch, the entire Tesano, Odona, Chisco, Vodafone, and Kole would have been flooded to the brim. But we did some good work there. The flooding you saw at Ashorman and Adentan and it environ has to do with some, sanitation issue.
Yeah.
That must be worked on. And I believe strongly that the local authorities, this morning I saw the NADMO people running helter-skelter to see what they can do to fix the problem. But dredge masters, we are up to the task.
So this is what we're seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
Bright, if you can update me, is this a recent video?
Yeah.
So this is you working?
Yeah, dredging is ongoing, yes.
So that's sand being collected from the drainage?
Yeah.
This sand is from where? Is it everything washed ashore?
These are sand siltation that is carried from
everywhere. Okay, I'm just going to make reference to grade. I have my document. I was just making reference to the Odo. Sorry, the Garrett project. Okay, so we have this our document. Maybe you can make reference to it and explain to me. I have the images on my phone, so I can use it. I was trying to make reference to it earlier this morning.
Yeah. Explain
to me what this looks like.
Okay, so
is this a pattern you're going by?
Yeah. But some areas have not been given to us to dredge now. Remember that.
Yes.
So we are doing Odo, we are doing the Kole,
Yes.
Car Price, and we are not in Kaneshi First Light yet. Those areas have not been given to us.
Okay.
We are doing Nima Drain has not been given to us. And I think South Kaneshi Market has not been given to us. So many areas have not been given to us to dredge. But the areas that have been given to us to dredge, at least you will see. And it's a World Bank project.
Yes.
The
So
World
which
Bank
area are you now?
We are in Kole, Odona, Chisco, Vodafone, and its environs, all the way up. So we are clearing it. And I can assure you, even if it rains more than what happened yesterday, there wouldn't be flood in that stretch.
Okay, I'm waiting to see if Bright can put that on the screen. But you're saying that you are not in certain areas.
Yeah.
So I want to see, you said you are in which areas?
We are in the Odo River circle area.
That's here.
Yeah.
Are you going by this map?
Yeah, this
Or
is
you have
where
created your own map?
the World Bank has the location where flooding happens.
Yes.
And if we don't dredge,
Yes.
but I'm saying that some of the areas are not under our purview for dredging, has not been assigned or allocated to dredge masters to dredge. So we are dredging where has been given to us per the World Bank's arrangement, contract to dredge. So, so far we are doing a good job.
Okay, just let me know the areas you say we are. I just want to us to have it on the screen so you can appreciate. It doesn't look like we're far from you. I want you to follow us. Okay, so that's what you have on your screen. This is the document we're trying to refer to, and it's captured in the guide project. I want to believe that you are using your own map, but this is the World Bank's map it did.
For the dredging.
For the dredging.
The areas that need to be dredged. Yes, sections of Odo Channel. So you see here sections of Odo Channel to be dredged, for example. And here has been dredged. And some other areas here have been dredged. And the lagoon areas is also in the process.
Can you give us the next image?
Where we are, work is still ongoing is the Kole itself.
So the white area is the dredged. This side.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we have the other picture? There are two images. Let's have the other one. Okay. So the white side is indicating that side has been dredged. And then
the Abubushi area has not been given to us for dredging.
It's not been given to you.
No, we are
But
not.
if, say, Sabon Zongo has been dredged, Kaneshi section has been dredged, and then we have, okay, you have to start from the upstream, right, downwards. Because this one, you see that it's flowing.
Yeah. So those areas, I think in the wisdom of the people who are assigning these jobs, they are looking at where the dredging is so critical. And that's where they have given to us. So if you look at Sabun Zongo and the Kaneshi section, for example, you wouldn't see that much of the siltation, though you still have to dredge. But where the problem is the upper lagoon section, lower lagoon section, and Agbobushi area. But I was saying Agbobushi area has not been given to us to dredge yet. Maybe in future we would be assigned that job and we will do it nicely. Then the online section also requires some dredging.
So what's the nature of your contract? Do we have regular, periodic dredging?
Yeah,
because obviously that has to happen.
Dredging is a continuous work. If you dredge for, say, 6 months, 8 months, or a year, and you stop dredging, the siltation will start building up again. So periodically, you have to dredge. If you finish the entire stretch, and after a couple of years, you have to come back. So dredging, the after dredging monitoring is also very important. And when you are dredging a leak or a bigger water body, you have to put in monitoring and mapping the areas to know where the sand banks and sand siltation occur rapidly, so that when you are deployed, those are the areas you go and tackle. So dredging is a continuous process.
Okay, so that's the other map you're also seeing on the screen. And that we were trying to make reference to sections of Odo Channel for dredging. And you see that there's
Sabozongo. I think that's the Fadama area. Yeah.
So that side with a white indication has been dredged.
Yeah, and those areas are not that much silted, though must be regularly dredged to make sure we don't have the flooding situation. Yeah, but where we are is the stretch from the Tesano coming down Chisco, Vodafone, Odo, and then the Koli Lagoon area. And that's where if you dredge well, like we did, you will not see the water stagnated when it rains and pushing back to create the flood. So our team, the operational team and the technical team has put some method in place and it's working. Though the dredging is not a bit fast, and I think the president was addressing it yesterday or so, that we are behind schedule. But we are doing a lot of technical work and innovative thinking so that once we are unable to dredge, because the rains are here already, so you cannot use a couple of weeks to dredge the entire place. So you have to give way to the river to flow. Did you understand what I'm saying? You have to at least dredge some channels so that the water can gush through and it wouldn't build stagnated.
What's the best time to dredge? Is it rainy season?
No, if you wait to the rainy season, if you don't go to the farm on the regular day and you are waiting Sunday, you want to eat fufu before you go to the farm, would your fufu be ready? If you don't go to the farm from Monday to Friday and you are waiting for the weekend, when you want to eat fufu before you go to dig cassava, would your fufu be ready?
Yeah, but
so you have to dredge over the time.
But at this point in time, we're already in the rainy season, and we're still looking at the areas that we have to move.
Yeah, fast.
And buildings that we have to clear. But you can still work with it, even though it's late.
I mean, we have to put engineering methods to bear. And that's why I'm saying that even though the time is so short, we are still able to give the waterway, dredge some essential areas to make sure the floods don't affect those areas.
Okay, now in the video that Bright was showing us, you collected the silt. Do you carry them away from there?
Yeah, once you collect the silt, where the place is located, we have to create, people have encroached the areas. Some areas you cannot even have access for your tipper trucks to come and all of that. So first and foremost, the most pressing thing we do is to dredge, remove the sedimentation and put it on land, and then cut them off. Guess what? We are cutting these things off to all the way Pokwasi, somewhere. It's not a small journey.
How do you do the cutting?
Our trucks would have to cut,
So because the trucks can't move there, obviously the whole place is encroached. So you can't move closer.
Yeah.
So what do you use in cutting?
We have to find a way. I was there with your team, Derek and co. When we went, even Shadrach and co. We couldn't, even Derek. We couldn't even find a space, my pickup and their car, to even go close by.
And our car is very small.
Yeah. And you will see a lot of illegal structures, wooden structures all over the place. So first and foremost, I think that the law enforcement must be astute. We can't allow people to just go and occupy places that, at the end of the day, when flood happens, their life is at risk, and we have a problem, national disaster and all. We can't continue to allow that to happen. We have to make sure we clear them. And once we clear them, we can also have access to the areas to do a good job. you know.
All right. So viewers, we're just having some discussion on the flooding situation, and we are just trying to find how we can put some immediate measures to mitigate the looming disaster the disaster that has struck, because we have lost lives, according to reports that we're receiving from Adentan. 3 people were reportedly have drowned in the floods. And we're in the studio with Dredge Masters. Tanko Yakubu is the business development manager for Dredge Masters Ghana Limited. Earlier on, he talked about certain technical decisions that must be taken and that must be done. We'll come back from this break, and then before we wrap up, we just want to know how far they have gone with discussions with authorities or those that matter, if they've taken it up, drafted at least their suggestions, proposals, and see if these proposals will be received by the stakeholders involved in all the activities that we're doing. And I've just spoken with the task force. Maybe you probably have to also involve them, because now they probably are the alpha and the omega now.
I have been following them.
Because the task force is NADMO, ministries, lawyers.
Yeah, I've been following them. I don't introduce myself, but I've been following them wherever they go to do the demolition. I want to know and see how we fix the problem.
And also plot your mapping.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a business development manager. I'll be back shortly.
Ama, nansi mi jeno wo bin enko ye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basi makura. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oh you why? Enye mo ko. Give us JC lecture and the capsules. Aye num boom. En ho asem na mo kana. E boa emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya, we be boa wukunu. Ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum. Na wanyinya nanim te sese ne oyi chokoma. GC mixture and castle. Achesa.
A painful battle, one more menu for one and Quadawi if you do
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302-551-917 or 0302-551-918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Hi friend, where are we going today?
Just use your imagination.
Go! My family is the only thing that matters to me right now.
This is the stuff that Munich dreamed about.
These guys are the best. GoTV's ready to take you from your hometown to roaring stadiums and even on international adventures. So let's go together, from home or on the go with GoTV Stream.
Sounds like a great idea.
Woohoo! GoTV. Love it.
So guys, our house is flooded. Our house is flooded. Yeah, my house is flooded. So where did I go? I don't know. Let's go. So guys, our house is flooded. Our house is flooded. Yeah, my house is flooded. So where did I go? I don't know. Let's go.
All right, welcome back to Good Afternoon, Ghana. We're wrapping up with Tanko Yakubu. He's still with me in the studio, but let me, put through some announcements and breaking story that's come through that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is still doing appointments into offices, MMDAs, and all that. Now, the new appointment that's come up is Tony Intiado. Tony Intiado has been appointed as a new Lands Commission boss. Now, this is one of the appointments I don't have a question about. Because after the Lands Commission, I wonder what's going on there. The complaints, the attacks, the, inconsistency from Lands Commission is questionable. So this man probably has a lot of work to do. So we'll be paying attention. That's Tony Intiado. The profile is there. It says that a fellow and a council member of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors is the CEO of the TGTS Africa, a company with expertise in building and deploying technology systems for improvement in organizational process with special focus on geospatial technology and enterprise resource system. Tony was instrumental and spearheads the implementation of the Ghana e-Justice project as automation of law court complex, birth and death registry data automation, and automation of the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, if you've seen that office before. That's a profile of the gentleman who's just been appointed. His recent work involved the buildings of standardization, application for the private vehicle testing station, that's a PVTS of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, and the Multimedia Ghana's election application for television. Tony is a surveyor and an IT consultant with MSc degree in Land Management and Administration for the Technical University of Munich, Germany, and MBA from the University of Applied Management, Erding, Germany, and the BSc in Land Economy from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, Kumasi, Ghana. He also holds postgraduate diploma in Geographic Information System from the University of Applied Science, Berlin, Germany, and in IT certificates from St. Michael's Information Technology in 1996. He's participated in the training under the auspices of the United Nations Institute of Training and Research, Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and of course GIZ, World Bank, ESRI, is that what I'm seeing? ESRI and SAP, ASP, Open Text, etc. The guy's profile is rich, so expectation is high. He has served as an ICT chairman of Ghana Institute of Surveyors since 2002. To date, aside for his professional work, Tony Intiado is presiding elder of the James Makion Worship Center of the Church of Pentecost Adentan and the chairman of the Parents Teachers Association PTA of Pentecost Preparatory School, AB. He is a certified counselor with a Prepare and Enrich Facilitators Association and the Ghana National Association of Certified Counselors. All right. So that is your new boss for the Office of Lands Commission, and we see how his work is going to go. All right, let me come back to Tanko and wrap up with him. Mr. Tanko, okay, so what's the next? What's next? Are you in communication with authorities, as I said earlier?
Yeah, we have been talking to the authorities in VRA, and we have actually been doing some work with them. The oxidation dam in Akosombo and the one ongoing in Abuazi, we are constructing it for them. And so last week I met the Deputy Chief Executive, Mr. Lamte, and gave him this value proposition that we believes strongly, professionally, that if we dredge the upper part of the Volta, the Yeji area, the sandbanks, all the areas that need to be dredged, and the Akosombo and Akuse dam reservoirs, we can restore them to its original capacity or near original capacity. When we do that...
For original, you can't.
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
Just near.
When we do that...
Anything fresh is fresh. You can never recall.
Sure. So when we do that, we will be able to increase the dam's generation capacity by about an additional 2.5 million megawatt hour a year. What that means, the engineers will tell you, is that we will be able to bridge the gap of our generation or shortage in the system. And so the pressure will no longer be in ECG not able to distribute or IPPs not able to come in with
must all our institutions outsource the dredging activities? For example, VRA. Must they outsource dredging activities? Because they have dredgers. Why should they give it to dredge masters?
Now, let me tell you, even Gapuha cannot dredge.
I'm not saying they
No,
can.
I'm coming.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you something. But, you know, VRA has outsourced even their distribution capacity to NEDCO. Sorry, GRIDCO.
GRIDCO.
Why do you think so? Generation is massive. You can't do the generation. Well, you can attempt to do generation, distribution, and all of that together. But you have to focus on your core business. Dredging is a huge exercise. It's not something that even VRA, with the greatest of respect to my engineer friends there in VRA, they don't have the capacity.
I'll send the recording to engineer.
Yeah, of course. But even the water hyacinth removal, when you go to Pong, I grew up in Pong, Odumase Krobo in Pong. When you go to Pong, when I was young, when you are coming from the top, you can see the big river. Very beautiful. Today, you can't see the river. You know what is there? The sea weed, the water hyacinth, the whole river is grown weeds. Try, go and check. Then you will know. If you are unable to remove, it's a challenge. The environment people, they go, they do some work, but the weeds are also growing rapidly. And those are the areas dredge masters can come and solve the problem for you with the speed of light. And so we are in talks with them. We want to be able to do effective dredging and restore the entire Volta River basin. I don't want to go into the lower Volta. The lower Volta has been shared among people, concessionaires, and they are not dredging.
What?
They are not dredging.
They are supposed to dredge.
Yes. But
that contract's been given to
the lower
other
Volta.
dredgers.
Yes, the lower Volta.
To dredge,
yes.
And they have failed
politically, just giving to people, concessionaires. You go and find out.
I have to find out. Have they been paid already?
No, I wouldn't be able to tell if they have been paid or
but
not.
The contracts have been giving out.
Yes, but so when you want to go get this business from them, they also come with their terms. But dredging is not cheap. If you put a water master or a suction dredger here, in a day you might be consuming fuel like 1 million Ghana.
But why shouldn't they come with their terms?
No, I'm saying, if you are not a dredger and you are just an ordinary person and you go and take a contract and you cannot do it and you pass it on to the other person, even if you put 10% on it, it's a huge...
Yeah.
And dredging is not a small job with small capital. So if we are going to dredge and we'll put 10% on it and you already giving us the job, you have already put that margin on it, well, what do you think is going to happen? So that's why I'm not talking about it as area we want to go. If they give it to us and it's good, we can dredge it. We can do a good job. But
so you don't want it to be given to you maybe by second person, third person?
No, we can. I mean, if they bring it and the terms are good, why not? We will be able to do. But I'm saying, if you have given that concession to 4 or 5 people, and over 5 years or 8 years now, they are not being able to do, I mean, you have to take it out away from them and reallocate it to the one who can do it. But
okay.
Annie, I want to take this opportunity to, we are not only professionals who can dredge only the, say, the river bodies or the lagoon bodies and all of that. We are also able to do mining reclamation. You see what is happening with the Galamsey activities, and so many areas have been damaged, the environment. We are able to do those reclamation as well. I've sent some proposals around to Goldfields and Golden Star and Newmont and the rest of them to do tailing,
when it comes to
dam.
But when it comes to mining, it's not just about reclaiming the land.
Yeah,
it's now war.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we go into so is Dredge Masters having a capacity to fight the gunshots and the machetes?
You don't need to fight if the people are willing to do sustainable mining, and that's the solution we bring to the table.
No, they are not willing to do it. That's why it's a fight now.
I am coming. If I make this point, you understand me. So you want to do mining, you have license to do mining, and you are legitimate, right? You have to do a tailing dam. So you don't have to wash your gold or whatever with all those chemicals into the river body. If you have a tailing dam, then all your water activities go into the dam and it's properly being taken care of sustainably. We have sent proposals around. Like I told you, we are doing oxidation dams for the VRA in Akosombo. We've finished with Akosombo, and then we are doing some in Abuaji. The mining companies can also, and it's a major component in the mining activity, right? So if you are a fairly big mining company and you are investing in a tailing dam, how much is it? Then you can be seen to be doing the mining sustainably. But if you don't want to do that and you want to just wash your cyanide and the mercury and all of that into the river body, that also creates a problem for the human beings, the marine mammals, and even the Ghana water. Yeah. The wager people are complaining. And that also brings me to the solution we can provide to the Ghana water people, where their reservoirs can also be dredged, rebuilt, rehabilitated to the standard, and dredge the upper part of the lake that feed into the reservoir to make their work easy. And okay. So all of these are areas we are looking at, we are able to provide, good solution.
Okay. You seem to have collected a lot of data on these areas.
Sure.
I can understand that you wish that you will be giving the contracts to do these works, which is pressing. So I'm sure once you are actually also you already have certain areas you're working. The order, for example, how long is this contract lasting?
Okay, so the contract I think is for a year and a half or 2 years.
And after 2 years, what happens?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the World Bank must come to the table. I think a couple of days. Again? Yeah, dredging is a continuous business.
We don't want the World Bank to come back again. Let's see. We don't want the World Bank. This communication.
This is not where we go loaning money from World Bank to do any.
So they should do
work.
it. So when they
this
come,
is
what are they
the World Bank's own sustainable livelihood support system.
When the World Bank
it has nothing to do with borrowing money. No, it has nothing to do with that.
No, but it's the World Bank that has given us some money to do this.
No, it's dredging. Not. It's not a loan. This one is the World Bank, like your company can do social responsibility.
So this is social responsibility money that the World Bank has given us.
Yeah, if you read about the Garrick project, it's what the World Bank has identified across Africa and elsewhere, situations where affecting livelihoods and economic businesses.
So my point I'm making is that what the World Bank has given us now, today, when we're done, or the period for which their monies were given is done, they should come again and give us money again.
Like I'm saying, I mean, dredging, if you stop dredging, unless, of course, we stop desilting, if we stop silting our gutters, our environment, and throwing rubbish in, then as long as we do that, we have to dredge.
No, we won't stop. We just want to create the capacity, build the capacity for government to do these things. We can't always go out. Or you think the money, Dredgeman says your money is big.
Annie, dredging is like building a whole port or reconstructing a whole township. It's not what you are thinking.
Yeah, but it depends. My time is up. But it depends on the extent of the silting you're dealing with. So if you are able to clear this in the next 2 years, the order must be lightweight.
Do you know the sedimentation, the movement of rubbish and things that come through? Do you know?
Okay, they say my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. So I've had Tanko Yakubu. He's a business development manager for Dredge Masters, being with us through this discussion. Let me just let you know that the numbers you can call, just in case you need more assistance as well, is 0302 964884 or 0299350699, or you can also call 0299350030. These are NADMO contacts that you can also call in for help, just in case you find yourself in a tight corner. My name is Sania Famp. Okay, those numbers are on your screen. Just take your phone, quickly screenshot it, and then you can use it as and when you need the help from NADMO. The emergency number 2 is the 112. So that's it for emergency numbers for disaster management organization. Right. Okay, Bright, thank you so much for your assistance and the whole team for producing this program. We're back tomorrow with Good Afternoon Ghana. Kwesi will sit in. Thanks. Good afternoon.
The Ghana Celebrity Impact Awards, GCIA, is an annual awards ceremony that recognizes and celebrates the outstanding contribution and impacts of Ghanaian individuals, corporate entities, and celebrities. It celebrates Ghanaian philanthropy, promotes social responsibility, empower youth and community development.